Elegant and elevated, I am proud and confident, regal and exalted in my presence. But society asserts that I should be ashamed and apologetic because in my blackness there is no beauty, no dynamic. I once wondered if I was really a black queen, when with disdain this black skin is seen. They perpetuate that the attributes of a black woman cannot embody beauty, but once intricately and artificially placed on a foreign body, it is ordered in glory. Ridiculed and shamed for my big lips, stared at for my provocative wide hips. But my lips on her porcelain face is praised as plumpness, and her surgically enhanced hips adored for its curvaceousness. To think that our majestic roundness they told us to shamefully carry behind, while silicone pumped into her derriere festers on her mind. Daily, black girls scrub and erase their brown skin, leaving their bodies bruised and paper thin, while white women lay still, burning brown for hours, enviously covering their bodies in lotions, trying to get what is already ours. Our history is mostly hidden, and our traditions we are told to ignore, only accepting what we were told while our culture is being sold in stores. Weaving our uncontrollable hair into cane rows, our beautiful curls. Our traditions are the latest trend, shared links, and hair tutorial. Stealing our music, our sound. For that, they better work, work, work. Duplicating our rhythm, our wine. It is not a twerk. But what is truly ours cannot be stolen. But our truth, it seems we have forgotten. Our unique and beautiful blackness, caramel, mocha, and mahogany greatness. Too afraid to be displayed in the negative attributes of blackness, mute. We need to discover our power, our essence, our truth. We are the descendants of kings and queens, royalty. The blood of warriors and survivors flow through our veins fluidly. Can you feel it? Can you hear? Like the bass of a drum beating in your ear, beating through me, through you, through all of us, is pure, undeniable, beautiful blackness. Trust. My name is Jo-Annah Richards, and my new book is called Beautiful Chaos, and it's a poetry collection. It's actually my second publication. The first one was a fiction book. I've been writing poetry since I was about 10. It started during the volcanic eruption, and we were asked to write poems just to speak about our feelings. And then as I went to England, it was a way for me coping. So then I ended up with lots of books of poetry. And about 3 years ago, I wasn't working and I decided to go through them, type all of them up, and then to do a book. But I didn't want it to be too personal, but I wanted it to have some kind of meaning, some kind of theme. And the book is black and gold, which is, I think they're the most powerful colors, and sometimes there's so many negative connotations surrounding black and gold, but they're beautiful colors. So that was basically my theme for the book, for it to be, as it says, beautiful chaos, for it to be beautiful, but like in all beauty there's chaos. So like even like our volcano, it's very devastating and scary to look at, but it's the most beautiful thing. One of the most chaotic moments in my life was living in England, because I felt like I was ripped away from my home and I didn't have a choice, but I was 12, I couldn't stay. And I actually wrote a poem about being there and not feeling like I was there, just feeling like my presence was in Montserrat and how much I wanted to go home. And that poem is called Chaotic Paradise. So I think even like now, living in Montserrat, it's still like a beautiful chaos because it's home, but so much things have changed and there's so many different dynamics. So I'll read the poem for you. It's called Chaotic Paradise. Enveloped in your smoke of destruction, my utopia of hope and determination, your emulsifying black clouds and fire reveals your true desire. Paradise scarred by your fumes, ash clouds and fire. Fighting or fleeing is the perpetual dilemma. Notion of death sampled under the baseline of soca. Paradox state of mind, hell in heaven. Complex situation, from home your body is driven. Ectoplasm, my soul is tied to my land, my home. Physically, in a strange land my body roams. Yearning for home is my epic misery. Volcanic dormancy is my problematic mystery. For me going to England, I didn't realize the differentness. Like my mom is very fair, and like being a black girl with long hair, I used to get a lot of questions like, is your dad Indian? I'm like, what? Is that your mother? And color became so apparent. Like I had a mixed race friend. I didn't even know she was mixed race. I just knew she was light skinned. And people was like, no. And I'm like, so living in England made it so color so apparent. And even like working in England and knowing that I got interviews because my name was Jo-Annah. And if it was my middle name, Marcia, it probably would have been more difficult. And I just think that we don't, because so much of our history is hidden, we don't really know it. We don't know how to embrace the beauty of ourselves and our differentness, because everyone's different and we just have to see the beauty inside of us. And I think that sometimes you want to so much be something else, because I think especially with a lot of dark-skinned girls, they get told that they're not good enough. And there's some of the most beautiful people in the world, and I just think that if somebody told them you are so beautiful, that it would steer their life differently. Because I think when you don't love yourself or understand yourself, you make a lot of bad decisions. And for me, even though my family, like my mom is very fair, I was never felt like I had to be anything, like I didn't know any different. It was just my mother. And I think a lot of people growing up, they just get made to feel insignificant. And I think one of the other things, my father wanted a son. So when I was born, he made me his son. So he instilled all this power and assertiveness inside of me. So I never felt that I was less. I always felt like I could achieve anything. And I think that just with women especially, and especially with black women, because you know we tend to be at the bottom of the rung, it's not instilled in us enough. And I think we just have to get the message out there. And that's why my favorite poem is Beautiful Blackness, which I wrote for Tabiana when she was Miss Montserrat. And I wanted her to tell me what she wanted me to write. And she was just like, you know, about blackness and how you're made to feel. And it was a different perspective because she's much darker than me. And it was beautiful to understand her perspective and for me to embody it. And I think one of the good experiences with that poem and traveling with her is when we was in St. Vincent, and people were just so, they just loved her dark complexion. And I think sometimes we just need to be appreciated. And in some societies, darkness is like loved and lightness is loved, but I just think we need to love everything. My first book and my current book, they're both available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. The first book is called The Ill Concepts of the Caribbean Women, and it's about stigmas and stereotypes of Caribbean women. So it deals with abortion, homosexuality, lots of different topics, domestic violence, because I think we tend to not discuss a lot of ills in our community, and they get swept under the carpet, and things tend to happen in cycles, because if you come from a home of domestic violence, it's not discussed or dealt with, it cycles around, it affects your child. And I think we need to stop being ashamed and being so concerned about what others think and actually be concerned about our betterment. So that's what I tried to do in that book. And the way it was written, each character linked to the other, so it was to show that we are linked to each other. So yeah, the poetry collection Beautiful Chaos is also there. I think Ill Concepts is 12 US and the poetry collection is 10. So you can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. My Instagram is Jo-Annah14, which is JOANNAH14. And my Facebook is Jo-Annah Richards, author. We will rise. Our bodies have been beaten and bruised, a history misunderstood, mistold and misused. Our identities warped, enforced and confused. Our lightness tainted from what once was a muse. No compensation or repatriation can repair the damage. Our history is entrenched and embossed in our body language. The trials and struggles have encased strength and determination in our lineage. We are the result and representation of fighters, so pay homage. Our worth is far more conceivable and more vast than the skies. We must see ourselves as kings and queens in each other's eyes. Embody and exalt our truth and not the propagated lies. Then gloriously and gracefully to infinity we will rise. Lost, escaping fear. Reflection of what was before, Light in my eyes I fight to see. Into the unknown I venture and stare. What was is not and will never again. The brightness in my eyes, just a glare. In you, my way, myself I lost. My face, not the same as before. Past the exterior, a broken soul I see. A scary sight, in trance I stare. I promise myself this situation never again. I shiver at the presence before the glare. A grimace of hatred, a rage-filled glare. My happiness, innocence, now sadness lost. Joy, serenity is not present, that was before. Through the darkness I cannot see, but I retain eye contact to stare. Bravery gears me towards gaining me again. I flinch, afraid it will happen again, frozen in fear from the overpowering glare. My strength, my mobility lost. So in fear I remain as before, no escape I fathom, can see. To the left a piercing light I stare. Relief, as an escape I stare. I exhale, for the ordeal will repeat again. Softly I push the door, the sun shines and a glare. Need to escape, my soul is lost. Back to where I was before, a path so dark ahead I can't see. Footsteps behind I hear, but I can't see. Darkness ahead, but eyes spread I stare. Running, I must escape, not captive again. To escape the above, the unerring glare. Density, in this terrain, I'm lost. I must escape, return to where I was before. Freedom I anticipate, the light I can see. Darkness takes over, it happens again. I retreat, give up, as again into my insanity I'm lost.